Good evening, Ken Tortoise Capital. This is a re-recording of the strategy podcast for March 30th, 2021. So we had an inside day, and yellow zone is nicely compressed, ready for a breakout in either direction. Um, it would be a very strong signal if it were to get above the 10-day high at 396 and three quarters. I will start getting short on a violation of the spine of the dragon, then the belly of the dragon, and then a breakdown below the Bollinger Band mean to the downside. The slope of the 30 regression line is up, but the PSAR is marching down, so we have a nice compression zone in here where it's going to have to fish or cut bait. I'm expecting fireworks on Wednesday. In the markets, the S&P and the Dow were basically down a quarter. The Qs were down a half. And that was the worst performer. Emerging markets up a third, treasuries up a half, the completion index up 1.1, and the Russell up 1.68. The best performers, the metals once more, U.S. Steel, Cliff, then clean energy, the Bitcoins, blockchain, ARC Innovation, Bitcoin Trust, moonshots. To the downside, weakness was in materials, then a cluster of energy, tech, and staples, followed by agriculture, precious metals, and then a cluster in blended commodities, oil, marijuana, and the VIX. A couple representative trades that worked today on 10-minute charts. U.S. Steel, after a little gap up and then a strong run up and then back down to test yesterday's close. Then gave us a crossing of the VWAP entry with a stop at the PSAR for about 35 or 40 cents. When it breaks out above the Z3, you could think about adding a position. It's worth noticing that after the Z3 excursion, the penetration only got to the edge of the dragon. Then the penetration got to the spine of the dragon, and now the penetration didn't even get to Z2, but came all the way through the dragon. So that's the argument for either a sniper exit, or just take the 10-minute PSAR, which is more than enough for a 4-to-1 trade. And that any of those stops prevent a move back to the Bollinger Band mean or the PSAR, which is what we got. You could support a 1-2-3 entry rebound here, or wait for the caught a 2 and supported crossing, and then that would give you a nice 30-minute trade inside here. Inside clean energy, you had a nice gap up, a morning hook. Morning hook crossing the dragon above the VWAP with a. I would wait for to break the previous VWAP and then leave the river. You could think about re-entering on the failure to fail here, and then take an ordinary routine 1-2-3 exit, then a re-entry with scratches, and then the supported fall crossing pays off in the afternoon. This is about 4-to-1 as well, even if you don't get that second trade. If you get the second trade, that's about 6R. Finally, in Brazil, you have a gap down and sell off, then a rapid departure of the river, stop in the usual place at the VWAP and the PSAR dot. You notice the Z3 excursion. You'd be justified in taking that stop and then re-entering here, and sniper or managerial exit. You could get short on leaving the river or collapsing dragon or Z3 breakdown or Z3 excursion. Then you have a swing low. You'd probably cash here. That you either get the supported spring crossing here or the Kata 2 here when it crosses the VWAP with a nice tight stop. Probably adding a second position when it clears the hump, taking the exit or taking the exit, then re-entries, and then taking the exits and then re-entry. Wonderful trade inside inside Mexico. Or Brazil, sorry. Daily report. We have bullish normal, oversold long term, just below average on the very short term. No signals in channeling and overreaction. The risk Z is offering potential for an upside swing here still to get to Z2. So that's still on the table. But with an inside day, lots of dojis, still plenty of auto framers testing out well. Nothing broke out on the time frame lookbacks. Nike still intrigues, and I may look for continued momentum in Goldman Sachs here, and it's still 3-1. I like that one. In the ETFs, also inside days, very few breakdowns, a handful of dojis, plenty of good symbols for auto framer. The speculatives won today: Moon, blockchain, and clean energy. Not much else to look at. Lots of auto framers. I'll leave it to you to frame out. I like Nike, Disney, Apple, Goldman, emerging markets, and the Russell show some interesting possibilities. Not to discount tech, finance, and energy in a nice tight cluster here. Still all better than 2-1. Lots of good squeezes. When the S&P is at the top of that list, that means the market itself is poised for a big breakout. I'd be looking at SPY, Apple, Tech, Materials, Honeywell, and Microsoft. Very few breakouts today. The ones that were: American Express, Caterpillar, Morgan, and Goldman Sachs. Breakdown in Apple. There may be an opportunity forming there. Tech had a breakdown a bit, so I'd look for a rebound in tech. Otherwise, it's the old reliables: staples, materials, the Dow, real estate, and industrials. That top 5 on the 10-period NDX suggests the conservative play is the one that works. And that's everything I want to cover for tonight. We got fireworks tomorrow on basis of today's tightly compressed range. Keep your risk measured and your powder dry.